Hello everyone, today I'm going to be showing you why Beast Claws are a fantastic weapon and give you a in-depth build guide. It is easily one of the strongest builds I have played. I have killed the likes of Millennia, Mesmer, and more with this build. It boasts incredible damage and versatility due to being able to utilize incantations and sorceries to make them deal various types of damage while also having a very strong base damage with a built-in bleed scaling. Another thing is it is incredibly effective with the Mimic tier. When you put these on the Mimic tier, it becomes so much more aggressive. It is absolutely fantastic. I don't know what it is about the Mimic tier, but whenever I have other items on, it can be kind of slow and dull sometimes depending on the weapon, but with these, it is just absolutely up there and in its face. You can see here that it's pretty effective against the Mesmer. It literally finishes the fight for me in this clip. I realize that they're even more broken specifically in the DLC where the AI is very obviously updated to be more aggressive towards the player. So you can abuse this by just kiting the bosses around to buy your Mimic tier and just distract them since they're just always going to attack you regardless of if you're hitting them. And then you essentially become the spirit summon for your Mimic tier. It's pretty hilarious, honestly. And the other cool thing about this is you can get them incredibly early in the DLC. You just go into the DLC, run over here from the first side of Grace you walk to, kill a hostile NPC that's over here, and then boom, you have them. So they're very, very easy to get, so you can get them extremely early, which is super awesome. Beast Claws come with a special attack that you're going to see me use here on Morgott. It's really cool, but keep in mind it does kind of animation lock you into it, so I've accidentally fallen off a ledge, but it hits very frequently, which is going to make you proc the bleed a lot, super a lot. So as long as you're just careful about that, it's fine. You really don't need to change this. If you want to change it to a different Ashavor, you can, but I really don't recommend it. I think this is just absolutely fantastic, especially with the Mimic tier. When the Mimic tier starts spamming it, it is just incredible. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of the build. You're going to want to go quality on these. It raises the dex and strength scaling, causing it to have an incredible base damage while also still doing bleed. Now you might say, why no bleed or occult? Well, if you want to focus solely on bleed, you can go bleed and it'll be fine, but I noticed that the arcane does not do as much on occult or bleed as you would think. To be honest with you, occult really isn't good at all in my opinion. It just doesn't do a whole lot for the bleed scaling. It doesn't increase it enough to be relevant, but if you make it blood, it will double the amount that it's doing roughly if you put a bunch of points into arcane. So what I decided to do was instead to go quality. You have a higher base damage, and then you can enchant the weapons with Blood Flame Blade, Order's Blade, Frozen Armament, Black Flame Blade, and Electrify Armament. If you make your weapon a bleed or occult weapon, you lose the ability to enchant it. Most of the time, we're going to use Blood Flame Blade. This is going to coat your weapon in a Blood Flame, which is going to put a bleed dot that lasts 2 seconds every time you hit and adds fire attack power to your weapon, but you can continually stack this dot. It's not something where as if one is on it, you can't stack it again. You can continually stack it, and you'll notice that once you hit something a few times, it puts so much of the stack on, because the stack does about 40 bleed over the 2 seconds. But you're going to run into instances where enemies are immune to bleed or resistant to bleed. Commander Gaius, Putrescent Knight, and Elden Beast are ones that come to mind. So you need options for when this is the case. Also keep in mind that when you go quality, you're going to have access to a high strength and dex, so if you really run into a boss that the Beast Claws cannot beat for some reason, or you're really just struggling to do it with this weapon, which I really don't see why you would, you can just switch to a different weapon because you just have stats in other weapons. Like for example, I can tell you against Putrescent Knight, if you struggle with that one, Giant Crusher is fantastic against it, right? So you just want to be thinking about this stuff when you're going forward. So here's an example build. I have this set up to where you can use Blood Flame Blade, Frozen Armament, Order's Wrath, and Electrify Armament to change and add a affinity onto it to fight things when they're weaker, right? So, Vigor 40, 20 Mind, 20 Endurance, 45 Strength, 40 Dex, 15 Intelligence, 40 Faith, 10 Arcane. Now, if you just want to do the bleed version, you don't care about doing anything else, you can take your points out of Faith, you can drop that down to 25, just to make sure you can use Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow, just as buff spells, and then you can put the rest into your Strength or Dexterity, or you can pump up your Endurance. I have the Mind up a little bit, just in case you want to use a different spirit summon. However, you don't necessarily need that either if you're using Mimic tier, which is going to be my main recommendation. That's going to cost you health, so you don't necessarily. So you can move these points around as you see fit. Now, Since you are going quality, you need to keep in mind that the first hard cap for both strength and dex for quality weapons is going to be 60. So the moment your strength hits 60 or your dex hits 60, you want to switch to the other stat until that gets to 60, and then and then the next cap is going to be at 80. So keep that in mind when you are increasing your stats. Also, remember that when you're using things like Order's Blade, it does, or Electrify Armament, those do actually scale with your incantation scaling. So that is going to mean by pumping your faith up, you are going to be able to do more damage. Whereas with Frozen Armament, it actually will not do more damage by increasing your intelligence scaling. It's not going to increase the build-up. It's not really going to do anything of the sort for that spell. So you can just use whatever basic staff you want to cast that. So we are going to want to use the Erdtree Seal if we are going to go Faith. And keep in mind that while we primarily use Bloodflame Blade just for the bleed, the fire damage does also scale off your faith-based incantation scaling. So remember that as well. But, so from the Prison Town Church side of Grace, we are just going to go, run down these rooftops, drop down, and go all the way down to the bottom here. It's very, it's very, very simple to get. You just got to make a run to Mount Gelmir, and it's right in here. And be careful, there are some Omen Killers and stuff around, so you don't get caught off guard by that. So for your staff, you're going to want to head down to the Weeping Peninsula, go to the Demi-Human Ruins, and just kill her. She's very, very easy to kill, especially like if you have the DLC unlocked, this should be a breeze. This is going to give you the Demi-Human staff. It has a very low int requirement to wield, which is why I'm recommending it. And, you know, fully upgraded, it also with like for low int builds is actually going to be the best staff, I believe. So getting this isn't going to be too bad. Granted, you don't really need it to cast sorceries, but we're just picking it up to cast Frozen Armament, so we don't have to go like higher, because I think like the next staff is going to be like a 15 or something like that, and you can get this super early too, so it's just really easy to get, so it's an easy pickup. Alright, so now we are going to go for the Rakshasa armor, so just run right into the front door of Shadowkeep, kill the Golden Hippopotamus, then we're going to make a run. Technically, the Ansbach set would be the best one for this because it buffs the your incantations by, or your Blood Oath incantation for Bloodflame Blade by about, I think 12% if you have on all 4 pieces. So it'll only end up being 9% just because we are only going to wear 3 pieces of whatever set we are wearing. Otherwise, though, if you are using all the armaments, you can go Rakshasa because the Ansbach set is only going to increase your Blood Flame incantation thing, whereas the Rakshasa will increase the damage of Electrify Armament, Frozen Weapon, etc. So you could switch between these 2 armors. Now, getting Ansbach set kind of sucks because you can't get it until the end of the DLC. It is like a DLC New Game Plus armor that you can wear because you can't get it until you finish Ansbach's questline. Now, I have not tried this because all of my current characters, I do want to make sure I get the set. I don't have a character I've tried it on yet, but apparently you can kill Ansbach and you can just get his armor that way, and it'll give it to you early on. You can try it if you want, but yeah, if it doesn't work, I have not confirmed it, but that is what I have read online. Right. So that being said, it will lock you out of getting the Ansbach's Furious Rage, which is another like Blood Oath incantation, which I actually want to get on all my characters, so I'm pretty much just going to wait till New Game Plus just to make sure that I can get that. But it is an option if you really, really badly want to try to get that set. Otherwise, you can just run over here and get the Rakshasa set. It is a little bit of the run. You just got to kill this boss down here. And then alternatively, you don't even have to run any of this. You can just run whatever armor set you want because it's an 8% damage bonus. Who cares? It honestly is like so small. The main thing is that you're wearing the white mask for a 10% boost. So yeah. So and also this Rakshasa set's going to increase how much damage you take. So you could also go the Solitude set, which you find right at the beginning of Gravesite Plains. However, you will need to pump some points into Endurance from what I have shown because that is a heavier set. But it has some of the best defense in the game, and you get it by just walking left from the Gravesite Plains Grace that you first walk in, and you'll find this little tomb with a guy in there, and kill him, and he'll drop off that Solitude set. And that's like, if you just want defense, that's like the best defense I've found, right? So, and this is it right here. So in the Mogwin Dynasty Coliseum, go ahead, just run right over here, and you will get invaded by a white mask guy. Keep in mind, if you kill Moog, these guys will not invade you, unfortunately, so you might have to go to the next one if you miss this. But you kill this guy, and then he will drop the white mask and increase our attack power by 10% whenever we cause bleeding to happen. So the first talisman we're going to want is Alexander's Shard. So real quick here, I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do the quest line to get it. But keep in mind, you can kill him at any point and get a 10% version. But this is how you do the quest line if you want to do it that way and just do the whole thing. The first place you can encounter him is in Limgrave. However, it doesn't really matter. The first few steps you can actually skip. This is really only like a 3-step quest if you do it like this. So first off, you need to unlock the Festival of Radahn, and that's going to automatically skip the first 3 steps of his quest line and teleport him to the Radahn Festival. So to do that, you need to get the Dectus Medallion together and activate the Lift of Dectus to trigger the Radahn Festival so you can fight him. So the first one's over in Fort Height. You just have to make your way up the ladder, and it's going to be right up top. This one's very easy to get. It's found in Limgrave. It's very, very straightforward, just right here in this chest. And Fort Height is just located right over here in the first area. It's pretty easy to get to. It's just a short walk. Alright, so now you need to go to the Third Church of Marika in Limgrave, and this is going to be the fastest way to get to the next one if you don't have Caelid already open. Otherwise, you can just go to the Fort Faroth Site of Grace and skip a little bit ahead on this video. But there's going to be a portal right here. It's going to take you to the Beast Sanctum. Then you can turn around, and we're going to make a little bit of a run. Also, if you're pretty early on in the game, this is an okay farming spot if you have a stagger weapon or something that will stagger these little guys. Otherwise, you got to be careful because they can one-shot you. So we're just going to make this run down here. There is a dragon on this bridge, but you can just run past it. It's not a crazy big deal. It's generally speaking pretty slow, so unless you stop and like try to fight it or something, then you shouldn't get hit by it. And then the next thing to watch out for is we're going to be running behind this Erdtree over to the right, and there will be an Erdtree avatar here, so make sure that you avoid that. If you don't want to fight it, you just need to kind of hover a little over to the right to not aggro it, so you can run right around it, and then jump on the Spirit Spring that's right behind the tree. And then after you jump up this tree here, or Spirit Spring, you'll see we're over here behind the dragon. You can kill that and get a bunch of souls if you haven't done that yet. It just sits still, and you are now at Fort Faroth. Okay, so now we just want to run up these stairs, and then we're going to run past all this stuff and just go up this ladder. This one's actually super easy to get to because you don't really have to clear out the whole fort. It's just going to be in a chest right here at the top of this ladder. Just be careful to not get too poisoned. Yep, it's right here in this chest. Alright, so then you want to come over here to the Dectus lift and just activate it, and then that should trigger the Radahn Festival. You'll know if it's triggered because this teleporter will be active. If this teleporter is not active, then you have not triggered the Radahn Festival. So the reason that you want to trigger this is because this is going to be the first main place that you actually need to talk to him. So when you come up here, there's going to be a little festival going on, and the Warrior Jar is going to be standing over here. Just talk to him before the event, and then you need to go and kill Radahn. And then after you kill Radahn, he's going to be standing right here next to this Site of Grace, so make sure you talk to him here and exhaust his dialogue. It's important. Okay, so now we are going to find him over in Mount Gelmir, over by the Seathwater Terminus. This is going to be a little bit of an odd run, but you have to do this from the Erdtree Gazing Hill Site of Grace to get to where he's at. So make sure you run past these ruins here, and then you can pick up this Site of Grace. There's going to be a bunch of exploding, I guess like exploding pockets that are coming up here, so be careful on that. They will do a decent amount of damage if they hit you. But as long as you keep moving, you should not have any issues. Keep on going. And then there's going to be this big fort up here around the corner, as well as another Site of Grace. In terms of enemies, there's like this flame cannon you should watch out for, but other than that, not really anything too important. And then right here is where you'll fight the Magma Worm, and you need to kill the Magma Worm to trigger the next part. Okay, so now after you've killed the Magma Worm, you need to come over here and jump. You have to pretty much jump across the lava because he's just bathing in it and trying to like forge his pot to be even harder. So I mean, honestly, pretty Chad move, I think, but Alright, then you want to exhaust his dialogue here. He's going to give you a jar. And now the next part, he is going to be over in Crumbling Farum Azula. And you also can summon him at the Fire Giant, which is pretty useful because I didn't know this, but he actually doesn't increase the health of the Fire Giant whenever you summon him, and he does a lot of stance damage, so it's actually quite useful. Alright, so now for the last part of this quest, this is going to be in Crumbling Farum Azula. The reason why this quest is like long isn't because the quest itself is long. There's actually only like I said, 3 or 4 things you need to do. It's just the fact that you can't end it until you get way later on in the game. Crumbling Farum Azula is like probably the second to last area in the base game. So that's why, like, for some people it might be worth it to just kill him if you're doing your first playthrough and you don't feel like doing the quest or something like that. But yeah, so, but from here, make sure you do have 2 stone sword keys, because it is going to require that in order to open up this little fog gate thing over here. Yeah. Yeah, be careful not to get lost like I did. But now you just got to keep jumping over and then up these stairs right here, I believe. There's going to be a fog gate that you need to use 2 stone sword keys to activate. And this is going to take you into the last little area. There's no major enemies here, but you do have to kill the Godskin duo in order to be able to get to this area. So that's like, so there are a couple bosses I guess you got to kill in order to keep going on this stuff. And hop across here. And then you're going to find him sitting right here up top, staring off into the distance. Okay, so now you got to talk to him, and he is going to challenge you to a duel. And this is going to be the last part of the quest. All you got to do is fight him, kill him, and then he will give you his innards, and then he's also going to give you the Alexander Shard Talisman. So, and that's going to be it for this. Also, remember, if you're wondering what the innards are for, if you take them to Jarburg, it's to do the Jar Barn questline over in Jarburg. But if you haven't done that from the beginning, then you might have missed out. But I don't think that one gets locked out by anything in particular. Alright guys, so that is the Alexander questline. It's how you get the Shard of Alexander. Hopefully that was helpful to you. Now I'm going to show you guys how to get the next talisman, which is going to be the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia. Now, this is going to require us to do the whole Millicent questline, so I'm just going to go ahead and walk you guys through what you need to do for that. So you can get the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia. This is going to greatly raise our attack power up to 13%. And then we have Millicent's Prosthesis, which is going to raise it up to 11%, but also give us a +5 dex. Yes, both of those are stackable if you would like to use both. However, I typically only use one, but if you don't feel you need Dragon Crest Great Shield, which is going to be, I'm going to show you guys how to get that one after this, because this is going to also unlock the Halig Tree and take you to the Drainage Channel, which is where that one starts from. You can actually swap it out with Millicent's Prosthesis, because we do a lot of rapid attacks fast, so stacking Rotten Sword and Millicent's Prosthesis is actually pretty good. So yeah, so go ahead and then take this route. This is going to be how we get to Millicent without having to do the Celia thing. So if you went ahead and started following my path from behind the Third Church of America, I'm going to take you guys right to where it starts and show you guys the path that I do to get there. Because typically I already have this open anyway, because I like to go over and kill the dragon. But from Fort Faroth, you can run right down over here. And then there's a Spirit Spring over here to the right. You can drop down to the right, and you'll actually end up right behind it. If you do not do this, I believe you have to do the Celia Town of Sorcery thing in order to unlock being able to get up here. So this is kind of a little bit of a shortcut, so you don't have to do a bunch of extra work. But yeah, so then right here is going to be where Millicent's going to be up against this wall. Alright, so now we just got to talk to her. She's going to tell you that her body wreathes with scarlet rot and that you need... Or, well, she doesn't really say that there's any help, but then we're going to come down here and we're going to find this guy named Gowry. So from the Church of the Plague, we're going to run and jump down here. So if you haven't done the Celia place yet, you're not going to be able to walk up that pathway because it's going to be blocked. So we're just going to go run over here, and there's actually going to be a little way to jump down. Just watch out for these sorcery guys. One of them like spawns right in your way. I just like died awkwardly the first time I did this, because I just decided to not just kill the guy and to sit here and try to run around him. Then I just got killed. It's pretty humorous, honestly. And then jump over here, jump down, come back around, and he is going to be in this little hut over here. I've already completed it in this clip, but he is not going to be dead in this chair. Alright. Alright, so now Gowry, he's going to tell you to get this needle from deep in the swamp of Aeonia, and that if you do that, he'll teach you the secrets of, Sellia, or something like that. So that's like the normal way that you actually get up to Millicent, but we went and took the shortcut route, so now we need to go kill Commander O'Neill. So Commander O'Neill is like right in the middle of the swamp, so just go in here and just kill him. He's not crazy hard, but he does summon some dudes, so be careful on that. But then after you kill him, he'll drop that golden needle for you, which is nice. Alright, now we're going to go back to Gowry. He's going to say, let me take a look at the needle. He's going to give you the secrets, and then he pretty much wants you just need to go sit at a grace, and then come back and then talk to him again. And after you talk to him again, he's going to give you the needle. So now we need to go back up to Millicent. So normally, since you have the Sellia secrets, you'd have to go do that whole town thing, and that's going to unlock getting up there. That's why he gives you the secrets, but we skipped that, so cool stuff. So now we're going to go give Millicent the needle. Alright, so now we go back up here, and she's going to say, get away from me, I have scarlet rot, yada yada yada, poor me, I have no arm. So we're going to give her the needle, and then she's going to do this, avert your eyes, and now we just need to go back to a grace, and sit down, and then talk to her again after. Alright, so now we are going to talk to her again, and then after we talk to her here, we're going to need to go back down to Gowry's shack because she's going to be standing there, and you have to exhaust her dialogue in these places in order to get her to move to the next place with this one. Alright, so now she's going to go to this place and say, or go back to Gowry's shack and say, oh, I feel like I need to say goodbye to somebody, and then she's going to finally move. So now she's going to go to the Erdtree Gazing Hill. You're going to talk to her, and she's going to say, like, oh, I wish I had an arm. I wish I could help you. And you can summon her for the Magma Worm fight, and then the Windmill Hill fight upcoming after this. So now we want to get the Valkyrie's prosthesis. So this is going to be over in this shaded castle. All you have to do is just make a little bit of a run like I had shown on the map there. It's a pretty straight shot. It's just kind of out in the back. And then you're going to have to go and run kind of over to the back side of it to find that little entrance spot that I went through. There's two entrance spots. You want to go to the back one that's in the back left because it'll take you closer to right here so you don't have to walk as far. And then you'll just make this little run. Watch out for the Clean Rot Knight, and you'll have this Valkyrie's prosthesis right here. And then kill this guy if you so feel like it. Alright, now we're going to give Millicent the prosthesis. And then we are going to see her again in Windmill Village after we rest at the site of. Alright, so Windmill Village is, you can take this path here, you just follow a road, swing a left, just keep following the road up, and then you'll find this weird village of dancing old ladies. Then after you walk to the top of it, you'll find the small little boss fight. You'll fight the Godskin Apostle, and you can summon Millicent for this if you'd like. I didn't, but yeah, you can. There's a and then I'm not sure there's going to be. I guess Blackblade Kindred. I think after this is the last one you can summon her for. All right, so now we just want to talk to her here. You don't have to summon her for any of the fights, by the way. But yeah, so now she's going to say she's going to move to the mountaintop of the Giants. All right, so now we need to get the first half of the Haligtree Medallion. So go back over to Lernia, kind of run in over where this cliff is. Then you just need to go down to the bottom, run up to the top. If you go over the bridge, you went too far. Then you just hit this pot. This guy will give it to you. He'll get all scared and stuff. But yeah, so not too bad to get. And then the next half of it is going to be in the mountaintop of the Giants, which is, so you are going to have to get a little bit later into the game in order to get it. Alright, so now we have the Haligtree Medallion. I'm just going to go ahead and show you where this is. You have to go do Castle Sol and Mountaintop of the Giants. This is right after you do that boss fight. It's not crazy hard, but it can be a little annoying, but it's just right up here up top. Alright, and then we want to go to the ancient Snow Valley Ruins. You're going to end up running past this, even getting over to Castle Sol, so it's just right at the beginning. Just head straight through, and you'll eventually run into her. It's just kind of a straight path, so. Alright, so now we have this Lift of Rold. So after you unlock Mountaintop of the Giants by killing Morgott and going through the Lindell Royal Capital, once you make that run over there, you're just going to need to go take your medallion, do the switch action, and hoist the secret medallion, and then that's going to take you to the entrance of the consecrated snowfields. So, yeah. Alright, so now we need to go to Liturgical Town in the consecrated snowfield, and we need to do this puzzle. So, you need to go light 3 candles, Now, my recommendation is you can do this a couple ways, and keep in mind if you do die, it does not unlight the candle. So what I do here is, and I'll show you why, because you have to be really careful because there's a bunch of like invisible assassins out here. On top of, you have all these bow people. So when you light this candle up, and then you drop down, and then if you try to just run over there to where that ladder is, that's going to take you to the next two. You'll end up just getting like bowed down by this person because it'll aggro them. So what you can do is just die, and then after you get that one, re-go back into it, and then go ahead and hop over here. And yeah, see, now the bow person isn't aggroed. And then come up here. This is going to be the second one. Now, my recommendation for this next bow person is either you have a bow or some way of range of dealing with it, or you need to just sprint, because there's going to be two bow people shooting at you, and it's either going to be the best defense is a good offense, or you're going to have to sit there with a bow. Yeah, so duck, dip, dive, and dodge, and then, yeah, just be careful, because you can see here I end up just straight up falling off, but I do end up killing it, so that's fine. Then you can just run back around. The biggest fear you should have is just running into one of those assassins, which I didn't ever run into. If you don't move super far and you kind of run in these straight lines like I have been, you shouldn't run into one. The last couple times I've done this, I haven't. But yeah, this is definitely going to be probably the most annoying part of this, with the exception of the first run through the Halig tree to get to like the first side of Grace. Yeah, here's going to be the second candle, and then the next candle, the last one's actually pretty easy to get to. You just drop down right here and just run straight there. And boom, there you have it. So then in the back of the town, there is going to be a little portal, and you take that portal and it'll take you to the Halig tree. Alright, so now at the Halig tree, this is going to be another little bit of an annoying run. We want to go, come over here, start running through these branches. Be careful of the bubble guys. If they shoot you and hit you, it's going to do a decent amount of damage. Watch out for the bugs over here. Now, as you're running over here, you're going to see these spores that explode, so try not to hit them. There's one right there to the right, and they only trigger if you get close. And then you just got to make sure that you dodge roll those bubbles, because if they hit you, it is going to be rough. And then there's going to be a ladder. Yeah, there's going to be a ladder right up over here. And that'll take you down to the first side of Grace. And then from that side of Grace, we can do the next little bit of a run. So, alright, so go ahead and rest up here if you need to refill your potions or anything, because depending on which playthrough you're at, what your power level is going to really determine how difficult this run is. But you can really just run past everything. So now we're going to make this run to the next side of Grace. Not as long as you don't fall off and you don't aggro that Leonin Misbegotten guy, you should be good. And that's going to take us to this next side of Grace right here as another checkpoint, so you can refill and do whatever you want. And don't feel like you can't explore. If you've never been here, definitely just go around and explore and do whatever. I'm just showing you where the the side of Graces are on the way to finish the Millicent stuff. But yeah, so jump across these roofs. Then we are going to take this ladder down. And then we are about to get to the first boss fight of the Halig tree. It's not crazy difficult. You're just fighting, another sorcerer knight on a horse. But yeah, alright. And keep in mind, she doesn't actually spawn until you walk in a decent ways. So you can actually walk over to the left, walk over to the left a little bit, and then those dudes that are shooting at you won't attack you. And then she'll spawn, and then mess her up. Do the deed. Yeah, she just does the bow attack. She really, if you've done Caria Manor, you've probably seen her whole entire moveset. It's like a carbon copy of that. Alright, so from I believe that's the promenade, we will keep on going, but congratulations, you've made it past the most annoying parts of this. The rest of this is just going to be a run. I guess there's one last annoying part, potentially, depending on what your build is, but we have to kill an ulcerated tree spirit. So, we'll see how tough that is. Alright, so now, right here, we are going to then make it to the prayer room, which is going to be Millicent's last spot until we kill the ulcerated tree spirit. Yeah. Alright. So let's talk to her again. and she's going to go on about why she's here and the kinship. And keep in mind, you will have to do this whole entire questline twice because there are 2 options at the end, so we'll go over that in a second. But from the prayer room to the inner wall Haligtree run now, this one is really not too bad. There's just a jump you have to make. It's not this one. It's the one after this. So make sure you let that putrid avatar walk away so you don't accidentally aggro it. And then up here to the left, you can see here that I died. I actually failed this jump the first time. But yeah, you got to make that jump. And then if you make that jump, yeah, congratulations, you did it. And you come over here. You want to go down through this door. The reason why you're going this way is because it's going to put you outside of this putrid avatar that's guarding the door, so you can drop down behind it. If you don't go this way and you go the other way, you might find it a little bit harder. But yeah, but every time I do this, I always just end up dying right here anyway, so it's all good. Alright, so Haligtree wall to the drainage channel. We're getting close. We are getting close to the end of this long, long road. Oh my gosh. Alright, so down and in here. You can run through this. I saw some people like just rolling through this, and I don't know why. Like, just run. Just do a sprint, and then like nothing should aggro to you if you just sprint immediately in the whole time. Alright, come up here. Don't fall off the branch like I almost did there. And then down this ladder will be the drainage channel Site of Grace, which you're actually really close to the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman if you're interested in that too. Alright, now let's go fight an ulcerated tree spirit. Maybe, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it yeeted me off this first time. Let's see. Yeah, I want to say I just got absolutely totally yeeted. But come up here, watch out for that guy. You can kill him if you want, you don't have to. But yeah, you just fell off the ledge. Then come down here. And in order to get him to aggro, you have to walk towards that item that is in there. It's a Great Grave Glovewort, so it's worth getting. It'll give you a maxed out thing on one of your summons. It'll give you that last rank. But yeah, so this is me forgetting how to trigger it, going, wait, what the heck, what do I do to trigger this thing? And I was like, oh, I bet I gotta walk out here, and then, oh, yeah, there it goes. And then I get absolutely yeeted, yep. Alright, so to kill this thing, there's 2 options. You actually can, if you do it right, you can actually aggro it from a branch, and if you stand up here, like where I'm at, it actually will seem to just kind of stay in there. So if you have range, you can easily take it from range. I just said, YOLO 420 blaze it and jumped into the Scarlet Rot and started fisticuffing with it, but I'm also doing a Savage Claws build here, so I don't know if I would necessarily recommend it. Doing that, I don't know if what I did was the smartest here or the best way to take it down, but I know that there are ways to cheese it from those cliffs if you have range, so you can do that if it's being too annoying for you. Or you can just, be a man and jump in and kill it like that. Alright, so if you summon to help her, that will be how you get the Rotten Wing Sword Talisman. If you summon to help them and kill her, that is how you're going to get her prosthesis. Both are worth having because they are stackable. So you can get a very nice, so if you're doing a build that has successive attacks and you can't think of an option of what to run, Rotten Wing Sword Talisman and Millicent's prosthesis are both very good options, and I think they're both worth getting. It's definitely worth doing this questline twice. And yeah, that's it. You did it. Congratulations. You made it through the whole questline. Now go back to Gowry's shack. You should find him dead or crying. If he's crying, just kill him and he'll drop this Canvas Flock Talisman. Alright guys, thanks for hanging in there with me. I know this is a long quest line. I know it takes you literally through the whole game in order to get there, but it's definitely worth doing, especially for New Game Plus. Oh my gosh, the talismans that you get from this are all very good. Flock Canvas is okay, but Millicent's prosthesis giving you a plus, I believe it gives you a plus 5 or 10 to Dex. And then it also gives you a successive attack power boost, plus Rotten Wing Sword giving you a successive attack power boost that stacks with that is just, it's fantastic. And I believe you can also stack the Winged Sword Talisman with this as well. So if you're trying to do a successive attack power build, there you go. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to get Fire Scorpion Charm. You can use this in addition, or if, you just don't have anything else to use, or because you haven't done the quest lines that you can do this, but if you remember, the magma worm that we had to go to and kill for the Alexander questline, you just go right over to the fort that's right next to that, the Seathwater Terminus site of Grace, hop up here, and it's going to be right up over here. Okay, so now we are going to go to Stillwater Cave. We are going to run down here, kill this Cleanrot Knight, and it's going to give us a lesser version of the Rotten Wingsword insignia that's going to let us get up to, I believe, 10% attack power. It's like 3% less, so if you don't feel like doing that whole quest line, or you just are working on it, you can go ahead and pick this up, and this will give you an easy replacement for that early on into the game. Just run past everything. You don't need to worry about it. Like, everything's really slow moving. Just make sure you roll whenever the poison little beams get close to you. And then, and then be careful. There's a bunch of poison resist. And here is where the boss room is. So kill this guy and boom. Alright, so if you followed the Millicent questline, you should have the Halo Tree unlocked, which is going to go over to the Drainage Channel, which is, instead of going to Millicent, we're going to go the other way. And we're going to hop down over this branch, hop on over in this tree, jump right over here, and then go up, jump right over yonder to this house, and then look down. There's going to be some scaffolding. Careful, but that's the least of your worries. You will get absolutely destroyed by these things. Just try to get it before you die. Alright, that's best advice I can give you. It's in that chest. Alright, just be careful. Because I definitely found this clip and died. And speaking of dying, I also died trying to get this a couple times. So this is going to be the lesser version of the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman. It is just going to be the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman. So if you do not have the Halo Tree unlocked, you can go grab this version if you'd like. There is a +1 version, I believe, maybe even a +2. But this one's just really easy to get, and the other ones are going to increase it by like up to like 15%, or something. Like the other one goes up to like 18 or 20%. So personally, I think getting this and then just waiting until you can get the Dragon Crest one from unlocking the Halo Tree is perfectly fine. So go ahead, hop down here, and then watch out, because I definitely failed some of these jumps and died a couple times just trying to get down here. This is also how you get Cicada. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that, but I'm going to call it Cicada, which boosts your beast incantations. But yeah, so you walk over here, you can pick up the dagger, and then down further is the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman. So that's another alternative for you. Alright, and for our last talisman, we are going to be using Lord of Blood's Exaltation. This is going to give us a 20% attack power buff whenever we cause bleed. Keep in mind the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, the Fire Scorpion Charm, and the Shard of Alexander. Those ones, and like all those ones I've shown you previously, can be mixed and matched to whatever you want to do. But Lord of Blood's Exaltation is kind of like the staple one that you like really need to have, because in combination with the White Face Mask, you're getting a 30% attack power buff. Because Shard of Alexander, you could potentially not want to use that if you just don't really care to only boost your skill damage, right? If you want to instead run like Millicent's Prosthesis on top of the Rotten Wingsword insignia, right? So like those ones are flexible, whereas this is kind of the static one where it's like, yeah, you kind of need Lord of Blood's Exaltation. Like it's just really, really good for this build in particular. Alright, so as you saw, from the Leyndell Royal Capital, you can make your way down here, and now we are going to go for a run. Be careful, watch out for these guys, watch out for the shrimp. They're going to try to blow their loads at you, and believe me, it goes out fast. It's like a, what's it called, a flea or something like that? I can't remember. There's like this is kind of a random fact, but there is a bug that's what was it called? Man, I'm going crazy now trying to figure this out, but like they blow at like literally 40 miles an hour, and the way they inseminate the other bug is by cracking their carapace with it. Like, it's crazy. God, why can't I remember that? Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah. So, hop through here. You can kill these skeletons to pick this up if you want. Alright, so, you can go kill the skeletons if you want. Then you want to watch out for this. You can hop up here, and then you can actually grab the Crucible, or a Crucible Scale Talisman or something like that while you're here. If you want it, you don't have to do it, but yeah. So, but you can grab it if you want. Then we are going to just keep on keeping on, continuing. You can kill this guy. He isn't too bad to kill if you have a special attack, or, I mean, if you have Beast Claws equipped, you should be able to make quick work of them. They're not too tough. And we keep on going. Yeah. Keep on keeping on. And there you go. There's this. keep on rolling through here. There's going to be a lever we need to hit, and after we hit this lever, it is going to unlock the door for us. So right here. And now we can go fight the boss. Boss really isn't too crazy hard, pretty squishy, so yeah, I think I was using Eleanor's pole blade or something at the time, so yeah, pretty easy. Alright, so now let's hop into the incantations. We want Golden Vow. This is going to give us a 15% attack power buff, and I believe a 10% damage negation buff, so that's pretty cool. And it also does affect allies if you are like being summoned to another thing, so that's pretty cool too. You can help your allies out by giving that to them. Just watch out for the invader, but it's just right over here in this shack over by Volcano Manor and Mount Gelmir, and there it is. Alright, so now we have Flame Grant Me Strength. So for Flame Grant Me Strength, we're just going to make a run over here into this fort. I mean, it's kind of a long walk no matter what side of Grace you go to, but it's just over here in Caelid. And in this fort, we will run not into it, but beside it, actually. And there's gonna be two little cannon guys over in the back side of it. Watch out for all these arrow dudes. You can see me here go like the total wrong direction. Just kidding, totally was juking, and that's why I went that way, not because I got lost for a second. It's fine. Alright, and it's going to be right back over here in between these two people. Alright, so now we want to go get Frozen Armament. It's just right behind Carrion Manor from a Teardrop Scarab. You are going to have killed the boss in order to access it, because it's over by Ranni's Tower, or well, not by Ranni's Tower, but it's over in that area. Over where like Ranni's Tower and Seleucus' Tower is. Okay, and Bloodflame Blade, you get it right over by the Rose Church, so that's going to be pretty cool. You can get that one pretty early, very, very easy to get, and it's going to be your bread and butter enchant. To get Electrify Armament, you just need to get the Dragon Cult Prayer Book, turn into Brother Corrin or the Turtle Pope at the Ministry of Vows, and then he'll sell it to you. And then to get Order's Blade, you just need to wait for the Twin D guy, the guy that sits over by the round table in the very beginning part of the game, and you can get Order's Blade from him. Alright, and then to get a pretty good consumable for defense, if you need it for the DLC, you can get Boiled Prawn. You just need to do this quest for quick to unlock it. Keep in mind, if you've already made it to Volcano Manor, you may have already locked yourself out of this quest because you have to get Raya's Amulet to continue this. But you just go, you buy Raya's Amulet from this guy over here. His name's Boggart, and then you talk to him again. He'll sell you the prawn. And then after that, if you want to get the boiled crab, which is the better version of boiled prawn, it goes from 15% to 20%. Once you make it to Lindell, that very first bridge you cross to go into Lindell, walk outside, walk over to the left, and the first body of water down there, you should see him cooking crab, and you can buy it from him there. And then if he dies for whatever reason, you can turn in his bell bearing at the Twin Maidens, and then you can buy it straight from there. So now, if you head on back to Fort High after you trigger the Radahn Festival, there's going to be a big crater in the ground. If you drop down there, it'll take you to where I'm at right here, and this is going to begin the run to the Mimic Tier. You are going to need a Stone Sword Key, so keep that in mind, but this is going to be the best summon for this. My gosh, honestly, it feels like in New Game Plus, most of the other Spirit Ashes are just worse because they don't scale, whereas Mimic Tier copies your abilities. So I just don't find a reason to run anything. I mean, Black Knife Tiche is okay, but the higher up you go in New Game Plus, they all kind of start to fall off. And plus, once you put the Beast Claws on the Mimic Tier, it's just nuts. Like, it's crazy. Like, you can really just let him solo bosses to some extent. Now, obviously, you know, sometimes bosses are going to chain hit him with something and he's still going to die, but yeah, it's whatever. So when you fight this boss right here, if you just go in naked, you can summon it naked, then just put a weapon on real fast, and then, yeah, it's going to be pretty easy because it has, like, no resistances. Alright, so, yeah. Okay, now we're going to make our run to the Mimic Tier, so from that boss side of Grace, we ride. Now, there isn't going to be anything crazy dangerous. You do have to kill someone guarding the chest after you open it with the Stone Sword Key, but everything else is pretty run-aroundable. So, swing over here. And, you know, I've tried so many spirit summons, and I don't know, I just can't make it doesn't feel like anything else works once you get into, like, New Game Plus 2 or 3. But keep in mind, you know, this is what I recommend, but you can run other things. Like, Bloodhound Night Flow is one I really enjoy using, but kind of falls off later on. You know, Clean Rock Knight Finlay is also pretty fun, but kind of falls off later on. Black Knife Tiche, it's okay, but it gets a little too squishy in New Game Plus, but it does still do good damage. But yeah, so in here, you will kill her, and your Mimic Tear is going to be in this chest. Alright guys, well that is going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was able to cover everything, give you guys enough options, and you know, stuff like that talisman wise, just in case you were not able to go off and get, you know, Rotten Wing Sword talisman. I gave you guys a few different talismans you can get pretty easily in the base game. That'll work pretty well. But yeah, anyways guys, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.